I'm Autumn Jordan, Annapolis class of 2019. After Annapolis, I went to Wayne State, and I'm a pre-social work major, and I'll be a sophomore next fall, and I'll be class of 2023 by the time I graduate.
Caitlin Peterson. I graduated from Annapolis High School in 2019, and after high school, I went off to Eastern Michigan University, and my major is finance, and I will graduate in 2023. And I'll probably stay another year or two for my master's degree.
I'm Tanner Bonner. I graduated in the Annapolis class of 2018. I'm currently, I'm going to be a junior now at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, Massachusetts, right near Boston. I'm attending there for a 4-year degree in computer science and engineering with a minor in statistics and data science.
My name is Jenny Dang. I graduated from Annapolis in 2018. I go to school at U of M, and my major is biology, health, and society, but basically pre-med.
I'm Ann Domer. I graduated in 2018, class of 2018. I went to MSU, so Michigan State University, and I'm going to be graduating from here in 2020. I'm planning on going into veterinary school after my undergrad, so I'll do 4 years of undergrad and then go into 4 years of vet school if I get in, which hopefully I will. So right now my major is animal science, and I'm on the pre-vet track. So.
All right. Hi, I'm Hannah Cordy. I graduated from Annapolis in 2012. I went to the College for Creative Studies and graduated in 2016. From there with a bachelor's degree in fine arts and photography. And after that, I started working with other commercial photographers in the area, assisting them, doing retouching, and also doing my own photography, and shortly, hopefully, turning my business into an official LLC, and yeah.
My name's Aaron Matney. I graduated AHS in 2009, which makes me feel old as dirt because it seems like it was just yesterday. I went to U of M Dearborn for a while, for about 5 years or so. And then some bureaucracy happened, and that forced me to have to go to Henry Ford College, which I graduated this is 2020, right? Yeah, so last year. Last year I graduated with an associate's in the culinary arts from Henry Ford.
So I kind of went back and forth between art, some sort of digital art, like animation, and then I switched to nursing, and then I realized I couldn't really do all the blood and stuff like that, and then I found social work, and I found out that there's so many ways that you can go with it, like medical, there can be mental, like there's so many different routes that you could take. And then I started looking at Wayne State, and I found out about their social work program, and even though I'm pre-social work, I still had to pick before I got there because I had to start on the classes my freshman year, so that way by the time I reached my sophomore year I could have enough credits to apply for the School of Social Work.
I was a little shaky, more confused. I wanted to be a history professor, but that wasn't going to be comfortable enough for me financially, so I decided to pursue finance, and I still can do some aspects of history, business history, to see if they should invest in this product or not, depending on what other companies did. So best of both worlds within that.
I was first thinking of majoring in something like electrical engineering and computer science with math or something. I just knew I was kind of into techie stuff, but I formally first chose my major freshman year as urban studies and planning with computer science, because I'm really interested in civic applications and using data for public good and those sort of things. But then I kind of came around sophomore fall and decided computer science and engineering was the most flexible for me. It was the most employable because I'm trying to be a little comfortable after graduation when I'm figuring out what I want to do. So yeah, by the sophomore fall it was pretty much set.
So I actually had my major picked out before I even started college. I was actually actually accepted into Wayne State's criminal justice program, and I was going to do forensic photography, and then toured CCS and decided that that was more the route I wanted to go. So got rid of the Wayne State thing and went strictly for CCS, but their curriculum, you start your freshman year with classes in your major. Their core classes aren't like math, science, all that stuff. I think English is one of them. Language arts is the only thing that like normal schools have. Everything else is like metal shop, wood shop, all that stuff. So I had to know before I went in. You could change it if you wanted to, but it would have put a 5th year on for me. So yeah, I knew before I started.
I sort of decided like before I had even applied to colleges, I knew that I wanted to go into vet like related stuff, and so like the colleges I looked into all had like vet schools. Michigan State's the only one with a vet school in Michigan. And then I also looked into applying to Ohio State and University of Florida.
When I first got out of high school, I had in my head that I was going to be a history teacher and that I was going to try and change the world by educating younger ones. Didn't quite work out. Around my 3rd year of university, I started having this realization that I didn't have the patience to deal with the kids that I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach high schoolers and really kind of get them involved in bettering the world. From my junior year of high school, my freshman year of high school, I was kind of set on I want to be a teacher. But when I got in that kitchen, something just felt right. It just clicked. I was all of a sudden back in my kitchen as a kid, making these weird dishes because it seemed like science to me.
Beginning of my freshman year for the fall semester, we actually all had to, as freshmen, come in according to your major. You had to come in and you had to get like your ID pictures taken, and you got separated, and you met your counselors, and then they gave you a list of paper with like classes written down that you should take. So it wasn't really like I got an option or anything like that, and then you had to sit in like a computer lab and make these classes out.
Mine was very, very similar to Autumn's as far as freshman year. We did like talk to the advisors, but she gave us like a sheet. She didn't really tell us what to take. It was like, oh, you need these classes to get admitted to the college business. But like far as the elective, she's like, do whatever you want.
So, luckily at my school, they have like quite a few useful tools that allow you to look at course evaluations and to kind of try to place things in your schedule on like an app to kind of like see what the week would be planned out like, and then you can click it, you can read the description of the class. It's like really cool. So I would just talk to a lot of other people at the time and try to figure out what everyone else was taking. But at the same time, I tried to I first looked into like their policies, like what are the requirements I have to take, like how should I take them in a way that I can start taking classes in my major, like my sophomore year or freshman year, without being bogged down by all these requirements. So I just kind of analyzed all of that and recognized, okay, I should be taking this requirement and this requirement. So I was taking like a physics requirement and something else. But at the same time, I tried to make room for something towards my major, but also a schedule that wasn't going to be, 5 hours of classes in one day, because you'll find you'll skip the first one, go to the second one, be too tired for the third one, because just the order of, depending on how I'd say intensive the class is for you mentally, like you don't want to be stacking up a bunch of technicals right next to each other in your schedule. So considering all of those factors, I think it ends up becoming kind of personalized, but use your resources, talk to other people who are in similar career paths as you. And if you aren't in a similar, if you don't have friends that you can think of off the top of your head who are also doing that similar program or major, then reach out to the department advisor or whoever there is and talk with them, and maybe they could connect you to other people as well.
I didn't go for this year. It wasn't that bad. My longest day was Tuesday, and I had 8 a.m.s almost every day of the week except for one day of the week, and then I would always be done before 3, but most of the time it was pretty spread out. I would just have my 8 a.m. and then I would have another 2-hour class later on, so 4 hours of school.
So my very first semester, I let the like one of the counselors do my whole schedule, and it ended up being really terrible. So I kind of just did it on my own after that. But the structure of the classes at CCS were 2 like times a week 6-hour blocks for like your studio classes, and then you had your like English or other classes that were about 3 hours once a week. So it was a lot of trying to stack like a 6-hour block with a 3-hour block and trying to get it as like, so I'm not going 5 days a week, trying to plan it to like 3 or 4, trying to get like that one extra day where I didn't actually have to be on campus. Or if I did, I could go and actually just work on projects in like the free space that they had to use for us. And yeah, it was a lot of like scrambling to do them quickly as well, because if they don't have enough people, they will drop the class and not tell you. And sometimes it's only available in the fall, and that would kind of screw you up with your schedule.
On the credits, definitely don't push yourself too far with credits. Like, please, I took 20 credits my sophomore fall, and I might have lost a few hairs or grade a little bit. So I'm just saying, like, 16 and under is like kind of your way to go, because then you'll have time for other things, especially if you want to do like a part-time job or like even like clubs on campus, because there's so many things to do. 16 and under is like the way to go. Just wanted to say that.
And if you had questions, like, you would ask, but they didn't really go like, not like a college student perspective. Like, they didn't really tell you like, oh, don't schedule a class that's 5-minute walk away from this class kind of a thing. Like, they just made you schedule your classes, and you wouldn't know until you actually like looked where the buildings were yourself, like, oh, I'm not going to make it in this period of time. Or when you schedule classes, you need to have at least more than 15 minutes in between classes to get from class to class, or if you need to go eat or something like that. But I scheduled with my counselor like right then and there in the computer lab. But then when the second semester came around, I met with her and she told me what classes to take, but I actually got to put input. Like, she asked me what kind of courses I wanted to take that like were electives and stuff like that. So some of them I got to pick, but sometimes she mainly told me what I needed to take and stuff like that. So now I know that I have to not only listen to her, but also pay attention to the professors that I pick.
And as well as location. I was one of those students who just like clicked what class sounded good. I didn't pay attention what building it was actually held in. So I had to walk from the back of the campus all the way to the student center for like the majority of like first semester until I learned there was a bus stop at the back. So I was always out of breath trying to get to the bus stop.
They were so much more like laid back than I would have thought, because I feel like you guys are always like, oh, this will never fly in college. Like, once you get to college, like it will not be the same. We won't they won't care as much. But I feel like they're all like really, really chill. Like, and as long as you like talk to them about stuff and they're really willing to like help, which I guess I didn't expect, because like when you're in a lecture of 200 people, you don't expect like them to be willing to actually go out of their way and like, oh, let's like review this stuff really quick. I don't know, as long as you like talk to them, like if you're actually struggling, I feel like that really helps.
Only a lot more self-motivation you have to find within yourself when you're doing work in college, period, because it's very easy to skip classes and it's very easy to not do that extra step that you need. But I think one of the most important parts of college is actually going to your classes when you can, but not overloading yourself to where you feel like you can't make all of them. In terms of the professors, I think at Annapolis, I definitely had a really great relationship with the teachers because we were all together in that one building and I saw them so much. But in terms of faculty or professors at school, it's a lot harder to get their attention or to be able to interact with them because you're mostly interacting with, at least in my school, like the teachers or assistants or the LAs, which are learning assistants. So those are pretty much upperclassmen or grad students who are basically teaching the class for the professors in a way. They'll just lecture the class, but any sort of like discussion or recitation, you'll be working with those people. So the best way to get in touch with faculty is definitely to like email them, and if you wanted to like know about their research or so forth, like go to their office, so to speak. But it's not the same interaction at all as like with a high school teacher.
Self-motivation is a really big thing. My fall semester, I had a government professor who did not allow any electronics, so all note-taking had to be by hand. And attendance wasn't taken, so you had the choice to come and take notes or maybe get like video recording from somebody else. And then my winter semester, I had a bio professor who didn't take attendance either, but he basically read off the PowerPoint and like recite it back to you. So it's kind of like, am I better off skipping and taking notes by myself, going through the book like I'm supposed to, or am I supposed to sit in class and like hope he says something that's not in the book but probably is going to be on the test? And it's kind of like a battle, like, do I need to go, do I not need to go, kind of a thing. But it also really depends on the professor, kind of a thing, especially with attendance and stuff like that. And usually, especially because you can't create those connections like you can in high school, the best you can do, especially for bigger classes, is like sit in the first couple of rows. And they might not know your name, but they can see you raise your hand and ask questions a lot. Or if you have a lab, like I had a psych lab, she actually did end up learning our names and stuff like that. So if you did have a question, she like knew your name, which is kind of comfortable, especially after coming from high school into a bigger situation like college, and you have somebody who can like, okay, yeah, and they can talk with you on a first name basis, kind of a thing.
It's definitely self-motivation, and I really didn't struggle with that my freshman year because like I always was one of those persons who's always thought like a teacher, like one day I don't miss is the one day extra credit will be given. So I never wanted to miss that opportunity just in case like I struggle with the subject later on. And granted, that did happen like with my econ teacher. I didn't miss any classes, but he did give pop attendance, so like you would get credit for attendance that day, and some people didn't come, they would miss it. So that was always my motivation of like going to class and not missing events.
For me, I have both. Like, I'm in a program where they actually put me into smaller classes knowing where I came from. Like, I think they based it off of me coming from Annapolis and being from a smaller school, so they actually put me in some smaller classes. But I also do have like really big classes where I don't really get to know the professors very well. And if the thing is that like they're free to meet with you if you want to, you just have to meet with them on your own time, and you have to contact them on your own time. So it's not like you see them every day or anything like that.